steadily declined. But in 2018, 2.6 million tourists arrived in Zimbabwe, which is the peak level till now. In 2016, the total contribution of tourism to Zimbabwe was $1.1 billion, or about 8.1% of Zimbabwe's GDP. It is expected to rise 1.4% in 2017. Employment and travel and tourism, as well as industries travel and tourism indirectly supports, was 5.2% of national employment and is expected to rise by 1.4% in 2017. Several airlines pulled out of Zimbabwe between 2000 and 2007. Australia's Qantas, Germany's Lufthansa, and Austrian Airlines were among the first to pull out, and in 2007 British Airways suspended all direct flights to Harare. The country's flagship airline Air Zimbabwe, which operated flights throughout Africa and a few destinations in Europe and Asia, ceased operations in February 2012. As of 2017, several major commercial airlines had resumed flights to Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe has several major tourist attractions. Victoria Falls on the Zambezi, which are shared with Nambya, are located in the northwest of Zimbabwe. Before the economic changes, much of the tourism for these locations came to the Zimbabwe side, but now Nambya is the main beneficiary. The Victoria Falls National Park is also in this area and is one of the 8 main national parks in Zimbabwe, the largest of which is Tshwane National Park. The Eastern Highlands are a series of mountainous areas near the border with Mozambique. The highest peak in Zimbabwe, Mount Mnangagwa at 2,593 m, 8,507 ft, is located here, as well as the Bivamba Mountains and the Nanga National Park. World's View is in these mountains, and it is from here that places as far away as 60-70 km, 37-43 mi, are visible, and on clear days, the town of Rusape can be seen. Zimbabwe is unusual in Africa in that there are a number of ancient and medieval ruined cities built in a unique dry stone style. Among the most famous of these are the Great Zimbabwe Ruins in Masvingo. Other ruins include Kambi Ruins, Zimbabwe, Dhlo, and Nalatale. The Motovo Hills are an area of granite koppies and wooded valleys commencing some 35 km, 22 mi, south of Bulawayo in southern Zimbabwe. The hills were formed over 2,000 million years ago, with granite being forced to the surface, then being eroded to produce smooth whaleback dwalas and broken koppies, strewn with boulders and interspersed with thickets of vegetation. Mzilikazi, founder of the Ndebele Nation, gave the area its name, meaning bald heads. They have become a tourist attraction due to their ancient shapes and local wildlife. Cecil Rhodes and other early white colonists, like Leander Starjangson, are buried in these hills at a site named World's View. Water supply and sanitation. Main article: Water supply and sanitation in Zimbabwe. Water supply and sanitation in Zimbabwe is defined by many small-scale successful programs, but also by a general lack of improved water and sanitation systems for the majority of Zimbabwe. According to the World Health Organization in 2012, 80% of Zimbabweans had access to improved, i.e. clean, drinking water sources, and only 40% of Zimbabweans had access to improved sanitation facilities. Access to improved water supply and sanitation is distinctly less in rural areas. There are many factors which continue to determine the nature, for the foreseeable future, of water supply and sanitation in Zimbabwe. 3 major factors are the severely depressed state of the Zimbabwean economy, the reluctance of foreign aid organizations to build and finance infrastructure projects, and the political instability of the Zimbabwean state. Demographics. Zimbabwe's total population is 12.97 million. According to the United Nations World Health Organization, The life expectancy for men was 56 years and the life expectancy for women was 60 years of age. 2012. In 2006, an association of doctors in Zimbabwe made calls for then-President Mugabe to make moves to assist the ailing health service. The HIV infection rate in Zimbabwe was estimated to be 14% for people aged 15-49 in 2009. 234. UNESCO reported a decline in HIV prevalence among pregnant women from 26% in 2002 to 21% in 2004. Some 85% of Zimbabweans are Christian. 62% of the population attends religious services regularly. The largest Christian churches are Anglican, Roman Catholic, Seventh-day Adventist, and Methodist. As in other African countries, Christianity may be mixed with enduring traditional beliefs. Ancestral worship is the most practiced non-Christian religion, involving spiritual intercession. The Mbira Zavidzimu, which means voice of the ancestors, an instrument related to many lamelophones ubiquitous throughout Africa, is central to many ceremonial proceedings. Mwiri simply means God the Creator, music of Vanhu and Shona. Around 1% of the population is Muslim. Population in Zimbabwe. Year 1950 2.7, 2011.9, 2018 14.4. Ethnic groups. Bantu-speaking ethnic groups make up 98% of the population. The majority people, the Shona, comprise 78%. The Ndebele are the second most populous with 20% of the population. Failed verification. Better source needed. The Ndebele descended from Zulu migrations in the 19th century and the other tribes with which they intermarried. Up to 1 million Ndebele may have left the country over the last 5 years when, mainly for South Africa. Other Bantu ethnic groups make up the third largest with 2 to 5%. These are Venda, Tonga, Songa, Kalanga, Sotho, Ndau, Nambya, Tshwane, Xhosa, and Lozi. Minority ethnic groups include white Zimbabweans, who make up less than 1% of the total population. White Zimbabweans are mostly of British origin, but there are also Afrikaner, Greek, Portuguese, French, and Dutch communities. The white population dropped from a peak of around 278,000, or 4.3% of the population, in 1975-241, to possibly 120,000 in 1999, and was estimated to be not greater than 50,000, and possibly far fewer in 2002. The 2012 census lists the total white population at 28,782, roughly 0.22% of the population, 1/20th of its 1975 estimated size. Most emigration has been to the United Kingdom. Between 200,000 and 500,000 Britons are of Rhodesian or Zimbabwean origin. South Africa, Botswana, Zambia, Mozambique, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. Coloreds form 0.5% of the population, and various Asian ethnic groups, mostly of Indian and Chinese origin, are also 0.5%. Education. Due to large investments in education since independence, Zimbabwe has the highest adult literacy rate in Africa, which in 2013 was 90.70%. This is lower than the 92% recorded in 2010 by the United Nations Development Programme and the 97.0% recorded in the 2002 census, while still substantially higher than 80.4% recorded in the 1992 census. The Education Department has stated that 20,000 teachers have left Zimbabwe since 2007, and that half of Zimbabwe's children have not progressed beyond primary school. The wealthier portion of the population usually send their children to independent schools as opposed to the government-run schools, which are attended by the majority as these are subsidized by the government. School education was made free in 1980, but since 1988, The government has steadily increased the charges attached to school enrollment until they now greatly exceed the real value of fees in 1980. The Ministry of Education of Zimbabwe maintains and operates the government schools, but the fees charged by independent schools are regulated by the Cabinet of Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe's education system consists of 2 years of preschool, 7 years of primary, and 6 years of secondary schooling before students can enter university in the country or abroad. The academic year in Zimbabwe